Welcome back to Countdown to Branding Eminence. 5 strategies and 3 checklists for building a billion-dollar brand. So you've got a great idea, you've got a business model, you've got a startup. Now what you need to truly catapult your business is a powerful brand. So what's the process? What are the steps? What do you need to do to build a powerful brand? Here we have 7 steps to building a breakout global brand. Let's get started. Number 1, position. You've got to establish and determine your primary target audiences in order to position your brand effectively. And my suggestion to you is to look at the industry leaders in that particular industry that you're in. If you have a high-end fashion brand, you might be wanting to look at some of the industry leaders in fashion like Gucci. If you want to go into finance or banking, then look at Citibank. Maybe your target is a youthful audience. Then you should look at some of the industry leaders there, like Snapchat, great brand. See, they've got a unique icon. They're positioned very well for a young audience. Or if you want to go into motors, sports, or luxury cars, then you've got the models out there in the industry for you to look at and reference from. Once you've passed the positioning phase, then you want to start referencing and researching to analyze further how the leaders in your industry are branded. This is a bit similar to the first point, but it's part of that process. And that is, for example, if you are in the hotel industry, then you want to look at the leaders there, like for example Accor. Accor Hotels just did a rebrand, and I think it's a really awesome job of a rebrand. They've had a symbol of a goose for a long time. Well, now, in the days when you need icons for your brand, they've actually developed an icon combining an A with the goose, and they've also made it look very premium, very prestige. So that's a great model if you're looking to go into the hospitality industry and you want to target your brand at the high-end market. If you want to look at a toy brand, then I think that one of the best in the world is the Danish brand Lego. Short, unique, colorful, eye-catching. Cars, you don't get much better than Mercedes-Benz. In Asia, there's a big e-commerce platform called Lazada. It's a unique name they created, which is now synonymous with e-commerce and shopping online in this area. So if that's your target, you want to look at that, or Amazon or something like that. That's referencing and research. In the brainstorming process, I suggest that you come up with a short list of about 3 to 4 names that you want to present further, that you want to take to the next step. Try to narrow it down to 3 or 4 top hits, and once you've got those 3 or 4 names, then you want to start soundboarding. Soundboarding is taking the initial draft of your name to a trusted small group of friends. Maybe they're experts, or maybe they've done similar business to you, but you want to keep it pretty small because you don't want to let your name leak out, get stolen. Once you've established this is the name I want to go with, then you start to go to development. Developing the core elements of your main brand. Now, there are 4 core elements to start with at the first phase of your branding. You've got the name, you need your main logo. I suggest you start with black and white so that the symbolism comes out real clear. You're not distracted by a lot of effects and colors and this and that. If you start with black and white, then you can see, okay, this works in basically any color. If it works in black and white, it'll work in any color. After that, you want your main font. Fonts are licensed things, so you want to look into that as well. If you're going to use a font, you can't just use any old font from Adobe or from wherever, because those have licenses and you actually have to buy the use of those fonts or license the use of them. There are, however, license-free, copyright-free fonts that you can use, and I suggest you go with that. A good place to look for those is Google Fonts. After that, you want to pick the main color or the main colors of your brand. Colors communicate a whole lot about your brand. It has a lot to do with how people react and communicate with you through your brand. After that, I always strongly suggest going with a tagline. A tagline basically narrows down the core messaging of your brand so that you can communicate, even to yourself, what you're really saying, what the message is. That's the 4 aspects and steps of development. After that, you want to go to review and critique. After you've developed your brand to this level, you want to take a more finished project to larger focus groups, maybe industry leaders, maybe branding or marketing experts, maybe a sampling of your target group to see how they resound, how they react with your brand. That's when it's not fully finalized, but it's pretty finalized. You've got a pretty core brand set up, and see how they react, and then you can go back, regroup, adjust it, change it, whatever. Finally, you're at the finalization phase. Now this is creating the graphic identity of your brand. It's doing what you did, but finalizing that process. A lot of people don't know, but a complete, proper brand has core elements that you can't do without. For example, the full font family. The full font family, or the typeface of your brand. You need your title font, your text font, your signage fonts. These need to be established as part of your brand identity. You can't just use whatever font in your branding elements. You need to stick to your official full font family. After that, we're looking at the color palette. Okay, you've established maybe your first or secondary colors of your brand, but then you've got different shades, you've got your other elements, your background colors, all these things, those are part of the color palette. And you need to stick to those colors in your branding materials until whatever phase you do a rebranding. You can't change it around about. That's not proper branding and marketing. And then you've also got all of the logo variations. Now, you probably did one original one at the phases before this, but then you've got to do a horizontal version, a vertical version, a black and white version, a flat version. All of these are part of your branding package, and they're all encased inside your official brand book. You've got to put it out there. You've got to establish your brand rules, your guidelines, the laws of your brand, so that no matter who wants to use your brand, they know what to do, and even you and your own team know what to do, what you've established. That's the 7 steps to building a breakout global brand. It's part 2 of Countdown to Branding Eminence. I hope you'll stay with us in the other parts of this series. And I also want to interject here that if you've got a great business idea and you really need a brand, but you're not really confident that you have what it takes to take that brand to a global level, well, we at Ultimise, we're experts at global branding, and we're ready to walk with you through that process, all that process that we just talked about, in helping you, in partnering with you, in creating what is truly a unique, dope, breakout global brand. Thank you very much, and see you next time.